Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse? It's a Mickey Mouse operation around here.
All right, welcome everybody to the NorCal Sports Network. Dan Coach Miller along with Eric Romo. Visiting you here 24 hours after back surgery, so I'm not in the studio.
Unbelievable.
I'm laid up. Well, I'm getting around. I'm walking around, but I got to sit in soft chairs. I can't stand for long periods of time. But
did that anesthesia make you stay up pretty late?
Yeah,
Usually it does that. Yeah.
Yep. I was up. That's probably why. Yeah, I was up late last night till like 3 a.m. And then up at 8. So up even before 8, 7:30. Yeah.
But no pain, huh?
No, not bad. Not
Excellent.
bad at all.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I should be ready to come off the IL and be back in time for the September push. And
nice.
Giants can use my bat, right?
Yeah, there you go. In your arm, you could be a good opener.
Yeah, I can be an opener. Hey, yeah. Why not? I can throw 20 pitches, maybe 10, 15.
There you go.
Yeah, I can bounce one up there. Sure. Hey, we're going to talk about Buster Posey.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, we've been hearing it for a couple of months from one of our correspondents. Senior softball games. Been telling us in our chats that he's been hearing Buster Posey is going to be moving back to the Bay Area. And this morning on Murph and Mac, Bruce Bochy was talking about old times and the different things, and mentioned looking forward to seeing guys. And he says he hasn't seen Buster yet, but he heard he's moving back to the Bay Area. So maybe, we don't know for sure, but that seems to be the fact that heard it from Boch, heard it from Senior a couple months ago. He's got somebody that
he's got a source.
He's got a source. We heard that he's been looking maybe at homes out there in the East Bay. He sold his home last year, his big mansion in Lafayette, and moved to Georgia. But since he moved to Georgia, he got part ownership of the Giants.
Yep.
So what could it all mean? It could mean a lot of things. Number one, we know he doesn't want to manage. So we're going to rule that out. He doesn't have the aptitude or fortitude to want to come and manage, but maybe the Giants are gearing up for an off season of negotiations with free agents. And instead of Buster being in a kind of a consultant role or a role as an ambassador for the Giants, maybe he becomes the front guy. Maybe he becomes the head of the front office, and Farhan's 5-year tenure is over. I don't know. We don't know if Farhan's, there's some word out there that Farhan's already signed an extension. But heck, he signed Tommy Lasella to a 3-year deal, and they let him go after 2. So
exactly.
Maybe if the Giants
we'll take that same
approach with Farhan. I mean, the Giants need a new approach. Okay, they need an approach where they go back to more traditional style. Analytics is here to stay. It's part of baseball. It's been a part before Farhan. Boch used it, but he didn't rely 100% on it. And I'm not saying that even Kapler relies on 100%, but the Giants tend to over rely on it. It appears.
Exactly. And this kind of goes back to what Ned was saying. Remember, use it as a tool. And we're talking about analytics. Use it as a tool as for what you want to do as far as baseball operations is concerned, but don't make it the foundation of what everything is decided upon. Just use it as a tool, and it could do some good things. Hey, what's up, Senior? He's in the house. That's good.
Exactly. In fact, Andrew Baggerly had a great article this morning out in The Athletic. I'd get that, read that if you guys can. I posted an excerpt on it from on Twitter. I said, man, I sure miss a manager who was able to rely on instincts rather than data. Here's a quote, an excerpt quote taken from Baggerly's article, and this quote is from Buster Posey. He said, "I haven't watched enough Rangers games, but I know when we were playing, he rarely had any notes with him. He did his homework before the game. I identified that as well, having all that preparation fresh in your mind, but then letting your instincts take over and watch what unfolds and make decisions based on that. Whereas now you see a lot more tactical decisions being made while looking into a binder or an iPad, thing like
Woo!
that."
Wow.
Could that be shots fired?
That's shots fired. Huh? It's not like it's subtle. I get. Well, I don't know. Is that subtle? I don't think it is.
I don't know. He's talking to Baggerly. He's
That's
just saying,
interesting.
hey, look, the Giants have done so much analytical stuff that it's taken away the greatness of a very, very proud franchise. I mean, this is a team that won 3 World Series in 5 years. They did it with an old school manager in Bruce Bochy. Buster just said he made decisions. Also in that article, what I found very interesting, a quote from, I'll have to pull up the article again. I'm trying to remember who the quote was from. It was one of the clubhouse guys, maybe. It wasn't a player, but let me pull it up here, and I'll just read it for you.
But that is quite interesting, and that, I'm guessing that Baggerly probably got that quote most recently, right? That's not like that's not a dated quote. I'm guessing if it's a new article.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think
that
so.
it is. And Rob Stevens says
it was a Wotus quote. Here it is. Longtime bench coach. He had bench coach Ron Wotus. He had a lot of good meetings, a lot of effective meetings, but there was a moment that made me realize that this was the right guy to get accountability in the clubhouse and move on in the right direction. It was his first year in 2007, and he started off calm. Then he picked up a baseball bat and took a whack at the television in the clubhouse. He told the guys that we need to be focused on the game for 3 hours. Guys were watching TV. They were coming out late. So he took the bat to the TV, and what was a little bit funny about it, you expected the TV to explode, and it just sort of went thud because the new ones don't smash. So that pissed him off even more. A couple more thuds, and he destroyed it. He got worked up. He let the players have it. It was one of the last times I saw a manager get into the players a little bit. There's a certain accountability that comes with the game, and I thought it was a defining moment for him. He wanted the team to realize what's important. Boch always had that presence. He's the guy in charge, right? It's like meeting John Wayne, but he didn't run over with the mouth. When he had something to say, it was pertinent. You listen more when someone leads you in that manner. Boch was the man.
I like that.
Love that. Wow. I mean, we've been, Kapler, we never even see him ever run out and argue for his players when his players are arguing.
No.
It's a manager has to have more than just, this, I don't know. They're two different personalities. I think with the personalities, I think Kapler's is obviously different. Kapler's done.
I think this goes beyond even just Kapler. I think it's the whole mindset of what the organization is doing right now because of Farhan. And I think, and you're hearing it from you're hearing Posey kind of speaking to it as far as what he's saying about analytics. Basically, that's what he's doing. He's kind of just going after analytics. And then you got Wotus specifically going after leadership style as for the skipper. So it's interesting. It's kind of was this also in Baggerly's article as well? So it was all in one article. You got the Posey quote and the Wotus quote.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And there's more. There's others,
Wow.
There's quotes.
What was the title of this article?
I think I sent it to you. Check the email. It's in there. The text.
Yeah,
the whole article's in there. But the title is Bruce Bochy returns to San Francisco. You could tell how much winning meant to him.
Interesting.
But I'll tell you this. It is mostly Farhan. He shapes the organization, and we'll
Right.
see. We'll see what happens over the next year or two.
Hmm.
Does the organization want to continue to go down this road of platooning and put two pitchers and platooning your? I mean, you can kind of call your pitchers being kind of platooned in a way too. They're
Correct. With the
being,
opener. Yep.
yeah, and these openers and the constant lineup changes, not just the platoons, but the positions in the batting order. It's never the same. You look at the better teams, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Rangers, Houston, Baltimore. You know, they put the same lineup together for the most part. Definitely, generally, the first 5 to 6 guys are in the same batting order, whether they're facing, Humpty Dumpty or Pinocchio. They're out there putting the same lineup up,
You know what?
and
Wow, I just thought about this real quick. Senior's asking, would you have to give up his shares if you became the head of baseball ops? I'm not sure how that works as far as ownership and being part of the head of baseball ops or being a GM. But here's the thing: isn't Charles Johnson? Isn't he out of Georgia?
he may be.
I think he is. I wonder if Mr. Buster Posey had a meeting with him.
That's a possibility.
That makes me wonder now, because I forgot that he's a Southern guy. He's not a West Coast guy.
No, and he's the majority owner, and
exactly. So it makes me wonder if Buster Posey got in his ear, or maybe vice versa.
Could be. That's a good point,
It's
Eric.
speculation. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we know Johnson's conservative,
Yeah.
and Posey, I would say, leans probably
that way,
more
yeah.
Conservative, just his lifestyle, and don't know his views, but my guess is he's pretty conservative.
But I think maybe because Buster Posey, let's speak to baseball. I think
Buster hates to lose.
Exactly. He's got that intellect that Senior was talking about to be able to function as a head of baseball.
He's got the intellect. He's got the wherewithal. He's a catcher. He would make a great executive.
He was the captain.
Yeah, would make a great executive behind the scenes. He's probably not appreciating the way things are being run. And if he's got part owner, he's probably got more say over Farhan than Farhan has.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, if he's got ownership, maybe,
a little bit more sway, a little bit more,
To me, the best thing the Giants could do is get some real baseball guys in here, get some aggressive general manager, a Ned Colletti, a Dave Dombrowski, a Jerry DePito type from Seattle, guys that are not afraid to make moves to better your ball club. Take some risk. Take some risks. Sometimes, you take risk and it doesn't go well, and sometimes it does. And you're gonna, La Stella was a risk. It didn't go well. He's done some good signings. He made the signing first. Gosman was a great signing. He didn't take the risk of re-signing him. Carlos Rodon was a great signing. He didn't take the risk of trading him and trying to get more assets for the future. He ended up getting the compensatory draft pick, which turned into Joe Whitman, the left-hander that they picked up at the 69th pick, I believe, this year. So he was supposed to be the top lefty coming out of college. So maybe that turns out. But Farhan has a lot of strengths for baseball. I just don't know if it comes to, putting together the roster in the sense of going out, acquiring free agents, making trades. He seems to be really good at, finding back end guys and some of his analytics and stuff. But, the Giants are the 5th largest market, Eric, in all of baseball. And they made one move
exactly
at the deadline, and they were the number 1 team going into the wild card. They've already been surpassed by Philadelphia. Dave Dombrowski made the move and kept working. I read that it was over like 300 texts between him and the Tigers. and him and Scott Harris, and it was a lot of going back and forth. The deal came down the last day. Dombrowski knew that Lorenzen was a free agent, that Harris did not want to get stuck with nothing. He ended up getting stuck with nothing on Rodriguez, who turned down, the trade with the Dodgers. To lose Lorenzen, to keep Lorenzen and get nothing for him. So Dombrowski stayed on him and didn't have to give up a ton.
Right. And some of that the Giants could have easily gotten.
Oh, easily.
And we've been talking about this. What did the Giants need? A starting pitcher.
Starting pitching, yes.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So maybe
yeah.
maybe it's come time to maybe
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. To me, it's like you got to make those deals if you're not giving up your top farm guys. Lorenzen's now already pitched 2 great games and just finished a no-hitter this week. Phillies are on a roll that brings excitement to the club, plus what it does to a clubhouse when it knows that you're
improving.
You're improving.
And for the player who's getting traded, who knows they're getting into the race.
Yeah.
That makes them want to step up a little bit more, a little bit more focus.
So it's to me, this is where Posey, again, this is all just speculation, just thoughts. But I'll tell you, to me, the best thing they can do is put Buster Posey in charge of the front office, or a high position where he's dealing with, he doesn't have to deal with player contracts. 49ers have John Lynch, and then they have Parag, who does the contract negotiations for the players. He's their capologist. You can have a guy, maybe Farhan's good at that, and he puts together contracts. I don't know. I think he's a little weak at that personally, because I think he could have had Cody Bellinger this offseason. Cody Bellinger, Scott Boras said Cody wants a 1-year deal. The Giants wanted Bellinger really bad. They were at the winter meetings. They were talking. Kapler was down at the winter meetings. I heard him on the set at MLB saying, hey, we really like Cody Bellinger, and we really hope we can get him. And then it's within about an hour later, he signs with Chicago. And you know what? He signed for 18, 20 million, whatever it was, a 1-year deal with a second-year player type option. And
the Bellinger stuff would have happened before the whole Correa fiasco.
Yeah,
right?
it happened all before. Yeah. But Bellinger was a guy that was there. He was low-hanging fruit. You could have got him as your foundation piece to start, because what he was doing, he was not going after anybody. He was really playing this whole Judge thing. He didn't aggressively set the market. The market was moving up high. Things were going. People were getting 10-year deals, but we knew Bellinger wanted a 1-year deal. Why would you not offer Bellinger $5 million more to entice him on a 1-year deal? Because you know what? If you're not in it, you could have traded Bellinger at the deadline, as the Cubs almost did, but they got hot before the deadline. So it was a win-win with the Bellinger, because anytime a player says, I want a 1-year prove-it deal, I'm going to prove myself, that tells you he's going in very motivated and he knows what he's capable of doing. And, Farhan, again, trying to nitpick and squeeze and get the best deal possible. Now he tries to have to go trade for him, and he can't trade for him because they're winning. But even if the Cubs were willing to deal, I don't think Farhan would have been able to make the deal, because he wouldn't have been willing to give up anybody. And you don't have to give up anybody in free agency, especially on a 1-year deal.
Exactly.
Farhan signed Henniger to a 3-year deal. He signed Conforto to a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal with an opt-out player option. Signed Minaya and Stripling to 2-year deals with player opt-outs. So he's, go high. Just, you got money to blow. The one thing the Giants have is money. And, $5 million more. $5 million. I would have offered Bellinger $25 million. He got 18. I would have said, Cody, we want you, 25 million. But you know what? It's possible Bellinger heard, we can't promise you an everyday job. You may probably, and this platoon crap is going to cost other players from coming. And I'm telling you, getting back to Posey, the Giants may be realizing that they cannot attract star players because players talk, and they cannot attract players when they see the rest of the players see that everybody's getting platooned. Even Jock gets platooned. Conforto gets platooned now. He came over. Who's not getting platooned? It's Tyro and J.D. Davis. That's it. They bring up the young kids. They platoon them.
Yep.
They bring up Luciano.
What do we talk
about? Number one
position
prospect. Their number one position player prospect, and
platooned.
Can't hit against a right-handed pitcher. They bring, so it's
with a 2-run lead. Yeah.
And they are playing Matos. I guess they are playing Matos every day.
Well, they are, but they have to. That's the problem.
They don't have a choice.
And here's the issue. Outfielders. We talked about this the other night too, Dan. The one thing, the Giants have a tough time getting position players because of the ballpark. But now the strength was starting pitching. And now you go to this opener crap, and now starting pitching is going to be like, why would I want to go to San Francisco when I may just be an opener or a bulk innings guy and not even get paid as a starting pitcher? So now you're damaging that market, which was a strength to the Giants.
Right, because guys come here to,
rebuild
their careers, get, maybe 2 good years, and then they can go get a bigger contract. And the Giants are okay with that. And I'm okay with that. You don't want pitchers with all these long-term deals. Gausman may have been an exception.
That's what I was going to say. That was a missed opportunity.
That wasn't a bad deal. It was $22 million for 5 years. He got $110 million. I think the Giants could have got him if they would have offered him $5 and $100 before free agency. I think Gausman would have jumped at it.
Exactly. And this is it just ties to more to what you were talking about. You were just talking about this year about the faults of what Farhan has done. But just to go back in the recent past, you didn't trade Rodon at the trade deadline or Jock. You didn't sign Gausman the year before that. I mean, it's just
right. It's all passivity and very guarded, very calculated,
and at the same time, you're losing confidence. You may be, we don't know for fact, but you may be losing confidence in some of these players, wondering, do we want to come to this place where our role is diminished?
Hey, I think if the Giants don't make the playoffs and they don't do, have some success in the playoffs. I mean, first of all, I'll say this. If they don't make the playoffs, they got to make a change because this team should make the playoffs this year. They were the number one wild card. They didn't do anything to improve it. And last year they were, on the outside looking in, a few games behind, 4 or 5 at the All-Star break, and they decided to stay with it instead of selling. There's just too much, status quo.
Mm-hmm.
You either got to be aggressive or you got to be aggressive and make trades to build your future. We're getting, all this mid stuff. So this team had a chance and still does have a chance to make the playoffs this year, but they're in danger with this batting, them not hitting, and they're facing a gauntlet of hitting teams here with Texas, Tampa Bay, and then Atlanta and Philly, then back to Atlanta, then Cincinnati coming into Oracle the end of the month. Then they go on a road trip to San Diego. Then they got Chicago. I mean, these next 25 games are going to be really, really telling. And the Giants definitely need to start hitting. And if they don't hit, and Gabe himself said he believes in this team and is not worried about the lineup, that tells you if they don't come through,
he doesn't know what he's talking about.
There needs to be a change. You can't keep going forward with this. But benefit of the doubt, if they do well and this team makes the playoffs, you probably got to give them the benefit of the doubt and give them another shot because they got you in the playoffs. But you don't always have to give teams. I mean, hey, the Warriors made the playoffs in 2014, their second year in a row under Mark Jackson, who they had struggled for years. He got them going, and they fired Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr comes in and wins an NBA championship his first season. Sometimes it's just, making a move for a philosophy change of getting the right guys in with the right, the
Perfect
chemistry
example.
you have.
How about for the Giants? 2021, you got 107 win regular season, but you get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs.
Well,
See? I mean,
that was a tough draw, though. You were facing
the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, and that went five games, and for them to lose, you can't really blame the
only two
Kapler
players who have stepped up though in the lineup. It was Posey and Bryant. Those are the only guys who were
nobody hit. You can't blame them. I mean, that was just a rough draw.
And you know what? You're talking about the hitting and the lack of it right now. There's times where your hitting just has to pick up your pitching, where the pitching may not be spot on. And, you got to have that lineup to come up and score 5, 6, 7 runs just to get the win, because maybe your pitching ain't quite there. And now you're putting more pressure on these starting pitchers where they feel like they can't give up 1 or 2 runs because the lineup isn't going to back them up. And now you put more pressure on a starting staff right in the middle of the dog days of summer. So it can snowball quickly if they don't get this hitting.
Yeah, they got to hit, because you're putting, like you said, you're putting way too much pressure on the staff to be, practically perfect. So I got to say that, to me, this whole thing with Buster moving to the Bay Area, we don't know what, first of all, it's pretty strong rumors. It seems to be out there. We have, but again, we're not saying it's 100%, but we're kind of, like I said, Senior brought it up a couple months ago in the chat. He had connections that said it was a source that said he'd been looking at homes in the Bay Area and in the East Bay. And then, Buster's been gone a year, then gets into ownership with the Giants. Sounds like he's itching to be back involved with the club. And if he's going to take a bigger, more prominent role, he probably wants to be here rather than be in Georgia. And I'm hopeful. It would be great to me if Buster took over the, president of baseball operations, and you got some real baseball people in here, and Buster has guys. I mean, think of it this way, Eric. If you're talking to a player or you're talking to potential coaches moving into your organization, maybe they want to look at different instructors at whatever, whether it's different levels, adding more minor league hitting instructors, adding more hitting instructors to the big league team, changing to a more traditional baseball staff of guys that really succeeded in the game, that become, great coaches. They were catchers, they were ball players, they were, a lot of guys that have that baseball toughness in them. Who are you going to listen to when you're hiring guys? You're going to listen to a guy like Farhan with his computer analytical banking background, or are you going to listen to a Hall of Fame catcher who's so well respected,
who's won 3 World Series?
Yeah, and people just totally look up to and admire. You want to attract Shohei Ohtani. I mean, guys that want to come play in the San Francisco. It's all about a cultural change.
Correct.
I mean, it's just a cultural change. And right now, the culture of the Giants, to me, it's a nerd operation right now. It really is. It's a nerd operation. I said it. It's a clown show to me. It's not being run by guys that are truly baseball savvy. These are guys.
It isn't baseball centric. It's number centric.
It's number centric. It's plugging things into a computer. It's having a ton of people on your staff and your baseball operations that are just plugging things into computers. And every team has that now. I know that.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you need that. You need that.
But you have to have that foundational philosophy in place for all that other stuff to work, to be part of it, not
Yeah,
necessarily like I said, the
I mean,
forefront.
the Dodgers have it too,
Yeah.
but you got to have people at the top that really are baseball people. I mean, I look at the aggressive general managers in the game, and some of these teams are down right now, but they're having a down year. It doesn't mean they're going to not bounce back next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
But the goal of the Giants was always, the reason they hired Farhan is he came from the Dodgers organization, and Larry Baer basically hired him to duplicate what the Dodgers were doing. And it's been 5 years. Dodgers have made the playoffs since 2013. This is going to be their 11th, or is it going to be their 12th straight year? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
It's a lot of winning.
This is going to be the 11th straight year, and it'll be their 10th out of 11 of those 11 years winning the division. So Farhan was hired to try and do that. The first steps were getting a better farm system, and it looks like that's starting to turn around. The Giants seem to have a better farm system, but the major league level has been plug and patch.
Mm-hmm. It has been. And real quick, guys, for those who are in the chat, check out the KNBR interview. Murph and Mac had that interview with Bruce Bochy. About the last 4 minutes of the interview is when Bochy drops that bomb saying that Buster Posey is moving back to the Bay Area. If you guys want to check it out, so yeah, it's really interesting. And not only will it help, the organization, but imagine what it's going to do to the fan base when they know that you got someone at the helm who has some recent history of success with the organization, and he's loved throughout the Bay Area. So
yeah, hey, Derek Jeter did it with Miami.
Yep.
Other players have done it. A lot of players have some success, some don't have success. I think Buster would be tremendous. I don't know. I mean, he'd put guys around him that he'd surround himself with other guys that, but he could attract top talent. The Giants need to change their philosophy. They need to go from trying to be really cheap and profitable to making your profits from your winnings.
Right.
Bring in more fans. Get the place packed where, from 2010 through 2017, it was sold out every night.
Exactly.
So there was 40 to 41,000 in there every night. And the atmosphere was electric. It was a place to be. And that's where the Giants need to get back to. I mean, they're announcing higher attendances, but people are not showing up. So, this is what I think they need to do. This is what hopefully is happening. We have no idea. Buster could be moving back just to be more involved in a minority ownership and still be in the background. But it feels like that if he's coming back, it feels like it would be for something bigger.
I would think so, because I mean, if you're just a part-time owner, it doesn't matter where you are in the country.
It doesn't matter where you be. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you want to be involved with the organization, you want to be where, of course, the home field is. So I think we're onto something here. There is definitely something brewing as far as Buster Posey wanting to take a bigger part in the organization.
Well, hopefully it's him wanting to take a bigger part, and it's the Giants wanting him to take a bigger part.
Good point. Yeah.
And maybe they give Farhan another year, and Buster's kind of overseeing him and his day-to-day operations around what Farhan does. And maybe he learns a year from under Farhan and kind of figures out what he's doing.
Yeah, but would Farhan sign a 1-year deal to stick with the Giants? It'd be a lame duck.
Farhan may have already had an extension.
Yeah, but they could,
I don't know what they're going to do. Who knows? I mean, we'll see. But anyway, this all was about, the word that maybe Buster is moving back. It seems to be more than a maybe. It seems to be a pretty solid rumor out there. We'll find out. And
it's going to be interesting.
They say his home's up for sale in Georgia, it was reported, and then he's out here looking in the Bay Area. So we'll find out. We'll come back tonight, guys, after the Giants Rangers. 10 o'clock roughly start time tonight. Should be fun. Bruce Bochy back in town. Rangers versus the Giants. Rangers sending imagine this, they're sending a starting pitcher to the mound.
No.
Yeah. Hey, but the Giants are sending opener Scotty Alexander.
Has there been any word on who's coming behind Alexander?
Who knows? Who knows? We got to see what the computer spits out. All right, everybody. We will see you later on tonight after the Giants Rangers game. Thanks for joining NorCal Sports Network. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Appreciate it, Senior. Thanks for the hard work. Thanks. We'll see you tonight.